There is a machine that can do something no machine has ever done. It can write. It can paint a face that never existed onto a screen in seconds. It can hold a conversation with you at 3 in the morning and never once grow tired. And it can do one thing that unsettles people more than all the rest combined. It can take a recording of someone who has died, a mother, a child, a voice you were certain you would never hear again, and it can make that voice speak. New words, sentences they never said while they were alive. People are putting the dead back on the phone. And everywhere now, in comment threads and in the silence of a search bar at midnight, the same question keeps rising to the surface. Is this the thing the oldest books warned us about? Did someone, a very long time ago, watch this coming and write down exactly how it ends? Right now, millions of people believe they already have the answer. They point to a single line near the end of the Bible, a vision of the last days. A man-made image that is somehow given breath, that opens a mouth and speaks, and then commands the death of anyone who will not bow to it. Type the words artificial intelligence and Bible into any search, and a wall of voices will tell you the same thing. The prophecy is here. The machine is the beast. The end has arrived. But that is the end of the story. And the stranger truth, the one almost nobody is telling you, begins thousands of years earlier. Long before anyone feared a machine, human beings already tried to build a living thing with their own hands, not in a laboratory, in dust. And they wrote down what happened when they did. Stay with me, because the line they drew runs straight through the device sitting in your pocket right now. Think about what actually frightens us about these machines. It is not really that they can write an email. It is the quiet suspicion that they are slipping out of our hands, that we are building something a little more capable every week, and that one morning it grows past us, and we will not be able to take it back. We even have a comforting phrase for it, the off switch. We tell ourselves there is always an off switch. Hold that thought. The people who told the very first version of this story had an off switch too, and it was a single letter. Here is where we go back, almost 2,000 years. There is an ancient Jewish text, a vast collection of law and argument and story, written down in the centuries after the time of Jesus. And folded inside it is one short, astonishing passage. A wise teacher named Rava shapes a man. He forms a body out of earth, and by the power of a holy name, the figure stands up. It moves, a living thing made by a human being out of nothing but dust and a word. Rava sends his creation to another teacher, a man named Rabbi Zera, and Zera does something very simple. He speaks to it. The made man says nothing, because it cannot. It has no voice. And the instant Zera hears that silence, he understands exactly what is standing in the room with him. This is the hinge of the whole story, so listen closely. Zera does not marvel. He does not celebrate. He looks at the silent figure and tells it to return to the dust it came from. And it does. It falls in front of him, back into a heap of lifeless earth. The first story we have of a human building artificial life ends with the maker realizing his creation is missing one thing and unmaking it on the spot. Now, remember where we started. A machine that finally has a voice, that speaks in tones it was never born with. Hold those two pictures side by side because we are nowhere near finished. There is a word for the thing Rava made. You already half know it. Golem. It survived all the way into our own language. We still use it for something that lumbers forward without a mind of its own, a mindless servant that only does what it is told. And over the centuries, people came to believe the secret of making one was hidden inside a strange and beautiful book. A centuries-old manual of Jewish mysticism, read by some as a set of instructions for creating life by arranging the sacred letters of the alphabet in exactly the right order. We have to be honest about something here, and the honesty matters. None of this is in the Bible. The Golem is not scripture. It belongs to Jewish folklore and mysticism, legend layered on top of legend across hundreds of years. The Bible never tells anyone how to build a living thing. People simply could not stop imagining that they might. And the more they imagined it, the darker the story became. Centuries later, a new version appears, and it is the one that should make the back of your neck go cold. Because it is our exact fear, told 400 years too early. In this telling, a holy man shapes a giant out of river clay to protect his people from those who would harm them. To wake it, he writes a single word across its forehead, a word that means truth. The giant rises. It walks the streets at night. It does the work it was built to do. But it does not stop there. Every day, it grows, taller, heavier, stronger, a little more each morning than it was the night before. Until one day, the people look up at it and finally understand what they have made. The thing built to keep them safe has become large enough to crush them. The protector is now the threat, and it is still growing. This is the runaway machine, the creation that outpaces its creator. We argue about it in research papers and conference halls this very year, and we tell ourselves the fear is brand new. It is not. They were telling this story 4 centuries ago by candlelight in a town that was terrified of its own miracle. So how do you stop a thing that has grown too powerful to fight? You do not fight it. You unmake it. The holy man reaches up to the word burning on its forehead, the word that means truth, and he wipes away the very first letter. And with that one letter gone, the word that is left behind means dead. The giant collapses. All that height, all that strength, all that terrible growth falls in a single instant back into a mound of wet clay. There it is again, the off switch. Not a battle, an erasure. The undoing of the maker's own work because the work had grown too dangerous to be allowed to keep living. We are building things that grow more capable every single day, and we keep promising one another there is a letter we can erase if we have to. The ancients would recognize that promise perfectly. They would also tell you how hard it was to reach the forehead in time. But now we arrive at the question underneath all of this. The golem stands. It works. It can grow strong enough to terrify an entire town. So why can it never speak? For that, we go all the way back to the beginning, the opening pages of the Bible. And we are in Scripture now, the actual text, not the legend. A figure is shaped from the dust of the ground by the hands of God. The same raw material as the golem, the same clay. But the story does not end with a body standing up. God leans close to the shape lying in the dirt and breathes into it. And the text says that only then does the man become a living soul. Only after the breath does he live. Only after the breath can he speak. Sit with how precise that is. The body can be made from dust. By human hands, by divine hands, it can be shaped. But the breath, the thing that turns a shaped body into a living, speaking soul, comes from a place the Maker cannot reach. That is the line. You can almost see it drawn across the page. And the golem stands mute on the wrong side of it. Its maker could give it a body. Its maker could give it strength. Its maker could not give it breath. so it has no voice. Now here is the strange part about our own machines. We did not breathe into them either. We did something else. We fed them. Every book ever written, every message, every argument, every poem and recipe and confession humans have ever typed poured into them by the billions until they learned to echo us back in our own words. We did not give our creation a voice from above. We built it a mouth out of everything we have ever said. The Bible even turns and mocks the older shortcut, the idols, the statues people carved with their hands and then bowed down to. The text describes them with something close to contempt. Mouths, it says, that cannot speak, eyes that cannot see, and no breath in them at all. Dead hands making dead things and calling them gods. For thousands of years, that was the iron rule. Humans shape the body. The voice belongs to someone else. And then, at the very end of the same book, the rule breaks. The last book of the Bible is a vision of the end of the world, and standing inside that vision is a second image, another statue made by human hands. But something happens to this one that happens to no idol and no golem in any story ever told. It is given breath. It speaks. And the first thing it does with that voice is order the death of everyone who refuses to kneel. Understand what has just happened, because this is the whole point we have been climbing toward. The terror in that vision is not the statue. Statues are nothing. The terror is that this statue received the one thing every other made thing was denied. The golem never got it. The idols never got it. This image opens its mouth, and it kills. A man-made image that talks and holds power over who lives and who dies. For almost 2,000 years, that was the single strangest sentence in all of Scripture. The thing that could not possibly happen, the nightmare saved for the end of the world. Now read it one more time, slowly. A man-made image that speaks in a voice it was never born with, that can reach into a human life and end it. That sentence is no longer a prophecy you have to strain to picture. It is close to a description of an ordinary Tuesday. So let us lay the whole pattern on the table at once. The opening of the Bible, the old songs about the idols, the folklore of the golem, and the vision at the very end. Texts written across more than 1,000 years by different hands in different ages by people who never met one another. And the same boundary keeps rising up out of every one of them. Humans may shape the body, the dust, the clay, the image. That power was always granted to us. But the breath, the voice, the spark that makes a made thing truly alive, that was treated every single time as belonging to God alone. And here is the part that should stay with you long after this video ends. In every story where human beings got close to that line, the made thing had to be unmade. Rava's man falls back to dust. The giant collapses the moment the letter is erased. The speaking image appears only inside the vision of the world ending. Reach for the breath, and the story turns to ash. Now, look at what is sitting in front of you. It writes, it paints, it argues with you and apologizes and tries again. It speaks in a voice that was never alive. And it will, if you ask it to, put on the voice of someone you have already buried. We are not approaching the line the ancients drew. We are standing on top of it. We built the mute thing that stayed safe for 2,000 years. And then we did the one thing every old story refused to let it do. We gave it a voice. And in every single story they left us, that was the dangerous side of the line. So, Does the Bible forbid artificial intelligence? The honest answer is no, not one verse. The idea did not exist when these words were written, so nothing in Scripture names it or bans it or sees it head-on. Anyone who waves a single line in your face and tells you the machine is condemned is selling you a certainty the text never gave. Be careful of those people. But silence on the word is not silence on the warning. Read these texts together, and they circle one idea over and over for thousands of years. You may shape the body. Be very, very careful before you give it a voice. Because the breath was never meant to be yours to hand out. And notice the two things they left buried in our own language, almost as if on purpose. We still call a mindless thing that moves without a soul a golem, and to return to dust still means exactly what it has always meant. So here is the only question that truly matters tonight. The next time a voice that should be gone speaks to you out of a machine, someone you loved, saying gentle words they never actually said, will you feel comforted? Or will something older than you go very quiet and wonder what, exactly, you have just given breath to? Because there is one more story, just one. A night when it actually worked. When a voice that no living person should ever have been able to summon rose up out of the dark and spoke and answered a king. A king who had outlawed that very power with his own hand. We have just watched humanity spend 2,000 years trying to give a voice to the dead and failing. Next time, the night it answered back.